Okay, update on the motor. Things are going really good. Last time I left off, I did the bores all with the snap gauge, and I went around and took each bore at 90. Then I got the dial bore gauge and dropped it in and took my measurements, and essentially I added what I got off the dial bore gauge, my differences, which ended up filling in a lot of holes, because I was still like, man, some of these are a little, remember back on this thing over here, I was like, man, a little inconsistent. I wasn't sure based off, you know, the torque plate and everything like that, and how to get the average of these things. So to skip ahead, I once I added my differences that the dial bore gauge found, my totals were right on, like, you know, 1556, 1558, 1558, 1558, 155, 1555, 157. I mean, awesome. Okay, so then I'm like, well, maybe I'm just not doing this right. It's, you know. And I was thinking about, well, I can't have been that consistent badly. Like, my errors couldn't be, I couldn't make that many errors and come up with the same numbers every time. So I'm like, wow, this is like really spot on. After using the bore gauge, it really filled out the gaps that I had with the snap gauge. So what I did then was I took my piston diameters, which I'd already, this is a new sheet because I've been through a bunch of these, because obviously they're tiny to fill out and I keep having to rewrite some of this crap. So I took my piston diameters and I just like basically remapped them. And so I wrote down all my piston diameters, all my bore diameters from largest to smallest, and then was able to just map them. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I'm terrible at drawing these kind of things. So once I remapped them, because I originally had numbered them for measuring purposes, but I didn't have a bore to compare. So, you know, I put the largest with the largest, and then the differences, I mean, you know, it's the error here, whatever. But so, you know, 0061, 61, 63, 62, 61, 62, 62, 62. That's awesome. I'm so stoked with that. That's, you know, props to the machine shop for, once again, I was like, maybe I'm just not getting this bore gauge working right. Maybe it's a piece of crap or whatever, but I don't think I could be consistently wrong that many times. So I'm really, really stoked with the tolerances of that. The manufacturer recommendations for this, these are, I'm sure I mentioned it, they're forged icons, 30 over obviously, because I mentioned that before. They recommend anywhere between 0060 and 0080, so I'm right on, you know, so 6,000 to 8 thousandths of an inch. And I'm right on the low side, which is even more perfect, because I'll give this thing a hard time, but you know, I'm not going to be wailing on it day after day, and just for that, you know, I still want to be able to start it up in the morning, on a cold morning, and drive to work. So I think on the low end of that range, it's going to be good. You know, reading up on some things with like forged piston rock or slap or whatever, I couldn't be more happy with that. Really, really stoked. It doesn't focus, but somewhat of a boring update. Not much else to put in here, but yeah, once again, machine shop. This guy's nailed it. Really cool. And then I called him up actually this afternoon or lunchtime, and just was, while I was at work, and I was like, hey, just coming up with this. Is this, you know, just what you guys cut this? And before I sort of even gave him the numbers, he said that he cut the block to, you know, 4.155, and, you know, obviously, you know, 5 foot, like, you know, and it's obvious because it's just a 30 over 400, which is 412 anyway, but still really awesome. I didn't think I'd be able to measure this stuff this close, and so that's why I was a little skeptical of getting it this tight, but then once again realizing I can't be this close and perpetually wrong for 8 at a time, So yeah, everything's awesome. I renumbered the pistons to match, so you know, biggest pistons to biggest bores, and renumbered them, so now these are the final numbers and their cylinders. And next thing this weekend, I'm gonna do the crank, measure everything up on that, and then really ready to start putting stuff together. Obviously measure the rods up, but now that I've got my numbers of my pistons and bores locked, I can really start moving forward. So just as long as time and work permits, things will be really good. All right, cheers.